Right, hi everyone. Slightly later than planned. Had a couple of longer days at work on Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, a tooth and everything. I just wanted to relax a little bit, but really good news this week. My dentist appointment got moved forward. Yesterday had the tooth and the cyst out, so all has gone well. Not in a lot of, well, hardly any pain now. Um, just waiting for the swelling and that to go down. Got my van back yesterday as well, so things are on the up. I'm really positive, and the sun is shining, which is great. Personally, for me, being outside, finished work nice and early today. Been outside giving me poles and everything a good clean. Um, Resprayed all my shower kits. Just a bit of paint starting to come off. Gonna give them a wash tonight inside. Get the old shower down and clean them out. Get some new elastics in, get ready for the weekend. It's the fishing is going to change very quickly. I'm going to do a video about that very shortly. I know I said I'd do maggots in open water, but in all honesty, I think that's going to change really quickly, and it's going to be a pointless exercise. The fishing is going to change so quickly if the weather stays like this, which it speaks of doing. So I'll do that in a minute. First of all, we've got a match to talk about now. Quite an interesting match. The last round of the rookery individual winter league. As I said to you, I knew I couldn't. The league wasn't. I was never in the chance for framing, so as I missed a few early rounds. So on to the match. It was on Jay and Magpie, and I've drawn Magpie 30. I'll show you the little map in a minute. I'll just talk about it first. There are far worse pegs on Magpie, as I've drawn recently. But 30 in this league, you only have 4 peg sections in this league generally, unless there's odd numbers, and it's 5. My section is 30, 32, 34, and 36. Now 32 and 34 have been the best pegs on the lake generally all winter. And 36 it's not been the peg it used to be, but it's still, if they're there, it's fantastic. It's where I know a lot of people have watched it, very popular video, where I did the snag fishing video for Matrix. And all the fish hang around in the dead pads. Now the pads have died away. It's not, like I say, it's not been the be all and end all like it used to be, but can still throw up. So 30 is generally, it's not a good section peg. You're looking at 3rd or 4th really, which just how it goes. That's about how the league's been. So I'll just show you the lake. Peg 1 where I was last time, that's there. That's been good recently. 1 and 2, like 1 dobs all along the end. It works its way all round. Then you fish off the island. So you've got 28 and 29. They weren't in. I was then peg 30. Did make me think the edge was going to be good because we had a mild, but it come really cold. But I've had days when I've not caught a lot on there in the winter, and then all of a sudden they move into that shallow water, bit shallow water. Got 3 foot down by 29's platform, so I was definitely thinking that was going to be, if I was going to do any good, it was going to be down the edge. 32 is, on 30 you've got a little island of reeds in front of you. It plumps up really nice on the perspective of moving around, like I've said about in the winter. It is literally like 5 foot everywhere from a top 4, and the island's at 16 metres, and it's the same depth against the island. You can reach both sides with 16 metres, and obviously you've got all along, there's a few stick ups and that come out in the middle, which is going to be troublesome. There's often some little F1s and stuff around there, and they're the worst for fishing against snags because they're so quick. Move down to 32, there's the big island there. 32 is just on the edge of it, and there's a spinner there, and that's the deepest bit of the lake. 32 has been a great peg. And then 34, which looks out into this open bowl. There's actually a floating island here they put in just to try and keep some fish around here. 34 is always good. There's a lot of water there, the fish just live there. And then 36, there isn't actually a peg 35, not that, or there is, but it's never in. It's here somewhere. And then 36 is in the pads on this bit. So that was my section. 5 in was an opposite in me. 1 and 2 were in. 8 was in here, and then there was a few around here. 19 was in, he caught nothing again. That's where I was the other week. 8 here isn't very good, which is amazing because 32 opposite is, but they just don't sit this side of the island. And then there were a few pegs around here. So quite a simple match. It's all maggots and dobbin bread. So I set up a dobbin rig for around the island. Just set it a foot off bottom to start with. And I've set up a nice positive maggot rig, 414, number 10 dropper. I actually stepped up a bit. The water was quite coloured and I thought I'd be fishing against that island. So I've used, it's been the 013 bottom, 18 MXC1. And then I've had 12 to 14 the orange slick for a short kick, just so I could pull them away from all the snags in the island, because it's only a little island. It doesn't shell up, it's just all reeds, so they can go through there and everything. I've set up a pellet rig, 416 wire, exactly the same setup, just a 16 hook. I did set a lighter rig up in case it was really hard, a 4x12 with a number 12 dropper, just scaled down to like my SFLB 011 hook length. And 10 to 12 slick, just to balance the rig up. And then I set up an edge rig, another 4x12, a carbon, and the same rig, the same tackle as my more positive rig, because if I was catching down there, I wanted to be most of it. I drew at 8 in the Winter League when I won the Winter League a couple of years ago, the last league. Drew 8, really struggled for 3 hours. And then actually won the match, caught £130 down the edge in like the last 2 hours. It's just how it can be when we get in. It was like the corresponding match a few years ago. Just shows you when, as soon as that starts to warm up, they move into that shallower water. Bait wise, so it's all been maggots and bread, but I did think something was telling me that pellets would be alright. So I thought I'd start with pellets. I actually started on a top 6. With pellets. I had 10 minutes there, never had a sign, so that there was nothing at all being caught. Peg 1 had caught a couple dobbin, and 2 they always catch early there. No one else could see had caught anything. So I've gone dobbin bread, and again I've never had a bite, which really started to worry me a little bit, because I thought I'd at least get some line around the reeds, but I didn't. So I've started on pellets here, and I started to get a few indications. Just tapping in like 2mm F1 micros, fishing a 4.5mm F1 expander on the hook. When I eventually hooked one, little F1, I didn't get a bite for like 10 minutes, but then I started to get indications, so that was alright. Next half hour I've had 2 F1s, they're like a pound, not even that one of them. And I had a carp about 3 or 4 pound. But I was getting a few little indications, and I thought I need to change something here. They're obviously off bottom a little bit. We'd had a lot of rain, and what happens with it was F1s there, and what happens with F1s, any venue in the country, as soon as you have a lot of rain, they don't like it, and against any features, they will just sit like half or off bottom. They're really hard to catch, they don't really want to feed, but they just sit there. That's where they're comfortable, because the cold water's sunk to the bottom. They just come up a bit. In the summer you'd obviously catch shallow, but the water would have warmed up again by then. But when it's colder, they just don't want to know. So I changed it to maggots. And it was a waste of time. I thought I'd catch some fishing through the water. Never had a bite. Caught one rudd and a couple of little perch. So I've moved across to the other side, started with pellets, caught a couple there, but wasn't great. I plumbed the line off here just before it deepened off. Again, at 16 minutes it's the same. So I've put some corn and some ground bait, a little bowl of ground bait and some corn there. I thought that'll give me somewhere just to drop on, hopefully catch a carp. Tried it, never had a bite again, so I topped it up. And the little stick ups come out here, so I started pinging some maggots for 14 minutes to fish me light rig. I started to catch some decent rudd, 3 or 4 of them, and then I had a couple of F1s, and then I foul hooked a little carp. And then the middle of the match, middle 2 hours, just really struggled, like everyone was. Like Peg 8 hadn't caught at this stage, 32 hadn't caught a lot. There just wasn't a lot being caught. Peg 1 was easily winning the lake from what I could see. He was getting an odd one. He was about the only one though. The only place I could get a bite was on the corn, but they were just an odd liner. I never caught anything there. It was just an odd one moving about. They just didn't want to feed. The cold snapper just completely shut it off. And when I got home and looked at all the results, everywhere was the same. Everywhere fished rock hard on Sunday, where the temperature dropped a lot. So like with 2 hours to go, I thought I need to catch the edge. It's now time for the edge. So I put a little ball of ground bait, 100 maggots, left it half hour, and I've gone down there, dropped in, and I've had a couple of indications. I thought they were little fish, and then I've had a carp about £3, and then I've gone there back in, and it's gone nearly straight away, and I've had a carp probably £8, proper fish. And then just no more bites there. I topped it up a couple of times, never had a bite. Went back on the maggots, caught a couple of F1s, but I knew that wasn't right. So I've, like with an hour to go or 40 minutes to go, I've gone back on that pellet line and actually had a little run. I had 3 or 4 F1s and I was getting bites there. 32, you got all boarding down the side and it just steps in a little bit. And he's not caught a lot, he's caught half a dozen F1s all day. Then he started throwing maggots on a top kit down by this little cutting bit. It's deep there, 5 foot deep, or 4 foot deep. And he's gone on it and he's caught like £6 and I thought, oh, that's strange. I really wouldn't have expected that to have been the way to catch. And then half hour later he's had another one. And I thought, if he gets another one, he's starting to catch me up quite quickly because I've only been catching little F1s really. And he sat there and I just, like 15 minutes ago, I thought he's going to get one. So I've had to go, I've come off them getting an odd F1, gone and sat back down the edge the last 10 minutes. With 2 minutes to go, he's hooked another one. I thought, oh no, I hope it's not a big one. And then my float's gone under and I've hooked it, but it's swum off that way and gone into the reeds and bust me. And that was the end of the match. The whistle blew, so I walked up to him and he's netted his fish. It was about £10. And he thought I'd beat him because I'd been getting a few bites, but I knew they were small fish. Felt he'd beat me quite easily. In the end, I've weighed 31.10 and he's had 6 ounces more, so that fish beat me for the section. It hasn't made, it's just cost me winning 50 quid for my section. Still would have been nice, it was a bit frustrating, but to come second in that section, let's say that wasn't a bad result really, but it was frustrating. Should have just stuck to the F1s as it turned out. Just one of them matches when you're not catching a lot, it's really hard to read. When you sat there and you've not had a bite for half an hour, you don't think you're doing very well, and I obviously was doing a little bit better than I thought. So come the end of the league, I've ended with 14 points. I've actually made the top 10, and considering I missed the first 3 rounds and then had a last in section, the first one in, so I've had no droppers. Like everyone's had 3 droppers, I've had no droppers, and then I've had to have a count in last as my first one. To come top 10, I was really happy. I only needed another 9 points as won it, so I was only 5 points away, and I missed 3 rounds. So I could have hopefully cancelled a 4th and a 3rd, and hopefully a 2nd out as well. I'd have been there or thereabouts. I had a few people message me actually and say if you'd have fished it all, you'd had a good chance, and I would have done because I was catching well at rookery those first few rounds, like in the teams of 3. Sure, I could have got a few results out, so that's just one of them. Wasn't meant to be this winter, as I've said to you. Not had a very good winter. But now it's all about the 2-day final there. That's next weekend. Some good money involved, so hopefully the fishing's going to pick up really quickly, like I say. If I could go back, obviously we look at these matches, it did catch us out. I thought it was going to be better than it was. Pellets, I can't believe, like pellets have been terrible all winter. It's all maggots there, and then in the summer it's maggots. But pellets were so good. I wish I'd have just fished the 1, 2 and that corn line. Just rotated the 3 for 4 hours in all honesty. and then spent a bit more time in the edge late on. I think I could have caught £50 doing that. Just keep nicking an odd F1 and bouncing around and letting them settle, moving along and starting again. So definitely something learnt for me. I'd say pellets were really good though. Dave's won the late, he's had £55 I think. Adam's been second here on 14. Again, in that open water, he's not caught a lot until he's swapped pellets and he's chased them around. He's had £40. So it's not been great. Could have definitely had that. Adam won the league, so well done to him. He's had a really good run the last few rounds. He was getting lots of seconds, and then the last few rounds he's drawn some great pegs and won his section like the last 5 matches and rose up the table very quickly and won it. Unlucky to my teammate Bruno, who was second. He's had the same as me. He's been beat by a carp, like netted after the whistle. And that's cost him winning the league because it knocked him into second and Adam just beat him. So unlucky to Bruno, really unlucky to that because he's been brilliant all winter. Yeah, that's that done. I'm going to just stop this and then I'm going to I'll put this will be out, I'm going to put this out tonight so you'll see it tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm not going to do maggots, I'm just going to do a video about how things are going to change in the next few weeks because they are going to change quickly. So be right back with that. I'll put that out the following night just so you're not getting two at the same time. Catch you soon.